am I an ethnocentric American? That's the question being asked, and I'd say this isn't the first time this has come up in the comment section, but I like being challenged. I like to understand myself better. I made a video called "The USA Only Has Two Neighbors While Europe Has to Speak Many Languages." And someone had left a comment saying this, quote, and it's a quote within a quote because it starts with something that I guess they're paraphrasing me, "As an American, English is all you need." So that's them quoting me. And then here's what they say. Isn't that ethnocentrism? To know another language enriches your points of view and understanding of the world. It is subtle, but the experience of getting immersed in other cultures and other languages has a gratification hard to understand if you don't get into it, end quote. So the thing here is, and maybe I've never talked about this, I took 4 or 5 years of French. I mean, like 2 in high school and I think 3 in college, because I have an English degree, and so they make you take a lot of foreign language. So because I'd already taken French in high school, I wanted to build on top of that. So yeah, I guess like 5 years of French is what I've taken, and I also took a year of Spanish. What's interesting too is, and a lot of you are new here, you don't realize that a lot of people from Europe say, well, I need to get out and travel and see the world. In theory, there's a good chance I've traveled the world more than some people in other parts of the world. I mean, I've been to Ecuador, I've been to Trinidad and Tobago, I've been to South Korea, I've been to New Zealand, and I spent 2 summers in Thailand. And here's where it gets ironic. Doing what? Teaching English. I spent 2 summers teaching English in not only Thailand, but also in Korea. So I think it goes back to a little bit of the irony here, is that what I was saying in that video is, okay, well, the United States only has 2 neighbors. We don't have to learn another language. While yes, a lot of people speak Spanish here, if you only speak English, which I'd say most of us are this way, if you only speak English, it doesn't hurt anything, you're fine. You can totally get away with having a very good career here and a good lifestyle, and it doesn't hold you back at all to not know another language. And I still feel that way, but it's being said, isn't that ethnocentric? And I'm saying, yeah, actually maybe it is, but it's an American point of view. If you live here, if this is your life, you know that the only language you have to know is English. Yeah, sure, to get through high school and college, you've got to take maybe some more, take some foreign language classes, but just to get through school. And then you get into the real world, and when have I used French or Spanish since then? Never. It's not relevant to the lifestyle and the culture and the profitability of an American. And in fact, I just said that I was an English teacher overseas in Asia, and they have such a high value for learning English. So if anything, this whole concept is being reinforced that English is a very important language. Not only here in America, but even in other parts of the world, they have such a high value for it. And what's funny is I taught at a Christian school in Thailand where most of the students were Buddhist. Those parents valued the English language so much that they didn't mind that their students were being taught by Christian Americans and Christian Canadians and Christian Filipinos. They didn't mind. They got to learn how to speak English. So you can surely understand that in America, where you have 2 neighbors that you border, one of them speaks English with almost the same accent as you, and then you've got Mexico, and yes, they speak Spanish, but still the #1 language here is English. And then, okay, guess what? I'm going to get diverse. I'm going to go travel the world. I'm going to go to Thailand, which is like one of the most furthest countries away from the United States. And guess what I'm there for? To teach them English. And they had such a high value for it that I came back a second summer. And then people heard about me, and then they wanted me to go do the same thing in Korea. My point is this, that ultimately, if you're in Europe, you're in closer proximity to other countries. My perception of it is, if you're in Europe, going to a different country where they speak a different language is like in America, where you travel just as far and you're in a different state, and maybe they speak with a slightly different accent. That's about as extreme as it gets. So we don't need to speak a different language. And again, I took 5 years of French and a year of Spanish, and I've traveled the world. So I think a lot of people don't realize that about me in these videos that I make. But the conversation went on a little bit more as the person said this, quote, William G. Summer defined ethnocentrism as often leading to pride, vanity, beliefs of one's own superiority, and contempt of outsiders. Do you agree with all that? Here's what I'm going to say to that. Just because I don't need to speak another language here in America, and because that concept is reinforced as I taught English overseas to a group of people who had a very high value on speaking English, I cannot relate at all as an American feeling that I'm superior as an American and that I have a contempt for outsiders. I feel like one of the ongoing themes of this channel is embracing diversity and celebrating diversity. I definitely don't feel contempt for others. I am others. Yes, I have an English degree, and I just said I am others. I said it on purpose to be funny, and no one laughed. And instead people critiqued me, but you said. Oh, look, I'm just having some fun. All right, look. Perhaps, if anything, my perspective as an American may even seem unpatriotic, as more than once I have said that I do not believe that an American soul is worth more than the soul of someone else in another part of the world. The soul of an African person that I will never meet is worth the same as any American. I'm proud to be an American, but at the same time, I don't think that America is better than the rest of the world. What I do believe is, as an American, we can get away with only speaking English because we don't have neighbors right next to us where we need to speak their language. And there's a high value on the English language, so much that I would be sent to the other side of the world twice to teach English at that school. So, you get to decide, free world, free market. Am I ethnocentric? I'm a man who has a YouTube video here to celebrate diversity and ethnicity and to celebrate our differences. But I am pointing out what is very obvious. Our neighbors aren't as close. We don't have to speak other languages like the rest of the world. I took 5 years of French, 1 year of Spanish. I've traveled the world, and I've taught English overseas at one of the most foreign countries, comparatively speaking, to the United States. But I want you, the free market, to decide if I am an ethnocentric American.